Welcome to Sort of Off Topic. This is my beautiful and talented and very smart friend named Max, and you better fucking respect her.
And this is Janey, my non-romantic life partner, who I would kill or die for 1,000 times over. And if you can't respect her, then you can't respect me. And if you can't respect me, you better get ready for a knuckle sandwich, baby.
Hello, and welcome
To Sort of Off Topic.
Oh my god, I'm Janey.
Oh my god. That's crazy.
I know this is an off-topic episode, and it still threw me off when you didn't say sort of the story.
Sorry, buddy. And I'm Max.
Yeah, that's Max. The one that knew what we were doing and did it correctly. That's Max. Yeah.
I just woke up from a nap.
Me too.
I still got it right. I'm really proud of myself.
I didn't get it right. We know that if I take a nap, I'm in that nap for the next 100 years. So, next couple episodes are going to be real bad.
The next couple of episodes.
Yeah, we only record a couple every 100 years.
Yeah.
This is the episode of the podcast where we are going to go off topic and not talk about fairy tales and folktales and mythology, and instead I, Janey, the one who knows what we're doing now, am going to tell you something that I have been thinking about a lot. And you guys are going to go on the deep dive with me.
Exciting.
Yeah. Before we do that, do you want to tell them about the Patreon in case they want to hang out with us more and get some bonus content?
Yeah. So we recently changed our release schedule from every week to every other week for our regular podcast episodes. If that's not enough for you, even with all this extra juicy sort of off topics, then first of all, mind your business. We're doing our best.
Wow, you greedy little monster.
You know what? Is anything we do enough for you? But you can get a whole extra bonus episode every month by subscribing to our Patreon. For $7 a month, you get a full-length bonus episode that releases every single month. This is a regular episode of the podcast, Sort of the Story, but it's only available to our Patreon subscribers.
Yeah.
Or for $3 a month, you can join us on our Discord and hang out with us. You also get that at the $7 tier.
Right now, the Discord is going crazy because in the most recent episode, which I believe is 137,
Maybe.
I posited that horses have 9 holes, and that made people mad. The Discord, they were like, what holes are you counting? So I did my inventory of horse holes. And then there was a debate on what constitutes a hole in a horse. It's a very long debate.
I was talking to my dad on the way home from work today, and he was like, I have a question for you. And I was like, shoot. He was like, what holes was Janey counting on that horse?
People are really upset. Okay, here are the holes. It's the eyes, 2 holes, which that was a controversial thing that we weren't sure about, because I counted the eyes as 2 holes. Forgot about eyeballs. Plug in those holes. But, you know, I'm counting the eyes. I said 2 eyes, 2 nose holes, 2 ear holes, a mouth hole.
So that's 7.
7. And then a butthole and a pee hole. 8, 9. It still leaves plenty of holes for the bell. Anyway, go listen to that episode. We don't need to talk about that on the off topic. Let's just fucking...
Anyways, the Discord is fun, and if you want to weigh in on how many holes a horse has, that's the place to do it, and nowhere else, because nobody else will know the context, and you will seem crazy.
Right now, the consensus is that horses have between 9 and 11 horse holes.
No, it's that they have between 8. Between 7 and 8 horse holes.
Oh, they updated it. They were like, okay, we can see this, this, and this, so now it's between 9 and 11.
It's got to be 7 and 8.
Max does not agree. So the debate is still on fire, guys.
It probably won't be by the time this comes out, but...
That's true. This is coming out like 2 months later. Still. Okay. Well, Max, lovely plug for the Patreon and the Discord. I think that we've whetted their whistles quite a bit, and they're all chomping at the bit like a horse.
That's a good horse hole. The mouth for chomping.
The mouth is quite a good horse hole.
One of my favorites. I'll be honest, I think it might be my favorite horse hole.
What if one day we get unlucky and we accidentally have to run for president?
We accidentally have to...
There's going to be so...
Sorry, let me take that word by word. We...
Yes, me and you.
Accidentally...
Whoops.
Have to...
Yeah,
That's
I know.
2.
Yeah, gotta...
Run for president.
Yeah.
All right.
Not literally run. Don't worry.
Oh, thank God. Okay, well,
Unless
that explains everything
by
else
the
then.
time that we're... Oh my God, I can run for president in 2 years. What if in 2 years they redo the entire presidential race and it's a literal race? That would make it so that only young people can run for president.
I feel like that comes with a whole lot of other attendant concerns.
We want fit, hot people who can race to be president.
I don't want that at all.
That's what I want. Tired of looking at these old butts. Anyway, I was talking about their faces. Well, that was that was my off topic. Everybody have a good day. Should I jump into it?
Please do.
Should we play the theme song again to get people back into the mood?
Yeah.
Welcome to Sort of Off Topic. Off topic. I don't remember the name. I don't remember the theme.
I don't think it's that.
Okay.
Do we have an off-topic theme song?
We do. Oh, you know what it is? It's the one where it's the one where we're complimenting each other and also threatening the listeners. This is my beautiful and talented and very smart friend named Max, and you better fucking respect her.
Isn't that? I thought that was the book club one.
Book club is books. Welcome to books. Got some banger themes. All right, I'm gonna take a 1 second break and then we'll be back with my off topic. Okay, Max.
Okay, Janey.
So I saw a TikTok that made me laugh a little while ago, like last year.
Congrats.
And I was like, thank you so much. Anyway, guys, have a great day. Join the Patreon. That's the end of my off topic. And it made me laugh. And I was like, I got to do an off topic about this. And it was, the video said that NASA was going to launch nude pictures into space for aliens.
Whose?
Nudes.
No, whose?
Like crudely drawn pictures.
Noodles.
Anyway, that's not true. I'm going to talk about that at the end of there. But it did send me into a deep dive of what have we sent to space? Because we've sent some weird shit into space. So that's what I'm talking about are the things that we've sent into space for science and for fun.
Okay.
Now,
Can I just say, and just a reminder, this podcast isn't for kids. And I do want to make it clear that I am saying this in the absolute utmost positive way. The golden record is cunty as fuck.
Oh, we're going to talk about it.
I know. I just really need to get that out there. Like,
it really is.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no, it 100% is. So the unfortunate thing is as fun as this research started for me, we unfortunately do have to talk first about all the animals we've sent into space.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but...
Moment of silence.
Guys, so we're going to get through that as best as we can, because it's not good. But I also think that this generation, like Gen Z, maybe actually doesn't know about Laika, the space dog. Oh. And so I do think that it's time for a refresher course so that we never forget. And then I'm going to go into the fun things, don't worry.
Okay.
Here's a quick overview, though. What do you think the first animal we ever sent into space was? The first live specimen?
Cat.
No. It was fruit flies. And they lived. That's the last fun thing I'm going to tell you for a while.
We should link to that Idris Elba commercial.
We just saw a commercial on TV of where Idris Elba slowly raised his head from above a counter to look directly into the camera, and both Max and I gasped a little. It was embarrassing.
Yeah, he monologues in a threatening but intimate way about how he's the king of the kitchen and the fruit flies never stood a chance.
Yeah, and we were both like, oh man, we were in the mindset of being those fruit flies. We're like, yeah.
Yeah, I was in there with them.
And then his wife showed up and we were offended. That commercial really fucking got us. So, things we've sent into space. My subheading is, this starts rough and I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I got my main list of weird things we sent to space from an article called 8 of the Strangest Things We've Sent into Space by Leave Cavendish, and it is on space.com.
Space.com.
I got a couple things for space.com. I don't want to brag, but...
Hey,
they seemed like the experts.
Yeah, the number one source for all things space. Yeah. .com.
Okay, so we already established the first living thing was fruit flies. That was in 1947. Okay.
Whoa, that's early.
It is early. They were trying to test what like radiation in space did to living organisms, and that fruit flies lived and came back, and I'm sure lived good life. What did they do with the fruit flies after?
Do you think they just like released them?
Yeah, they put them outside. There you go, in the trash can with you.
You've been honorably discharged. No, they would have had to keep them through the rest of their lifetime to see like what the effects would be.
Oh, 100%.
But
you can't dissect a fruit fly though.
No. But I mean, like if there was any like lasting effects from being in space, like to see if it altered their lifespan or anything like that. So they would have had to keep them until they were dead.
That's true.
Which begs the question.
Fruit flies live for like 24 hours.
Yeah, but it also begs the question of like, did they have tiny funerals for the ones that died?
They played tiny taps.
Oh.
Okay. So 1947. In 1949, they successfully put a monkey in space.
Yeah.
His name was Albert II.
Oh, no. That's...
Albert I died before getting into space. Albert II died on landing. So sorry.
That's
By
a
the
real
way, I'm
for
not...
sale baby shoes never worn.
It really is. Guys, also, I swear we are not laughing at the fact that these animals died. It's just so horrific. I don't know what to do with my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
32 monkeys in total have gone to space, plus chimpanzees, not counted as monkeys because they are apes. In the 1950s, the Soviet Union launched 12 dogs on various flights.
At the same time?
No, a different flight. They just released a kennel. Aliens, can you adopt? Don't shop.
We're going out of town for the weekend. Can you watch these guys for us?
So 12 dogs in the 1950s were launched into space on various flights. They always chose stray dogs.
Ugh.
Because the most heartbreaking answer of all time, they thought that they would be more likely to be able to withstand the cold. The first cat in space, October 18th, 1963, was a French cat. Do you know her name?
Hang on.
It's a cunty name.
Gatata.
It's Catata. No, it's Felicite.
Oh, Felicite.
Felicite. By the way, guys, read Allie Hazelwood's Love on the Brain. It's so fucking good. It's set in NASA, and there's a mysterious cat in the NASA building that only the main character sees for like the entire book, and she calls it Felicite.
Oh, no.
Felicite lived.
Good.
Yeah, of course she did.
Good for her.
Oh, strong female role model. This is a quote, because I just thought it was too much for me to just try to
explain.
Yeah. In 1968, the Soviet Zond 5 became the first spacecraft to circle the moon, carrying a payload of 2 Russian tortoises, wine flies, mealworms, plants, seeds, and bacteria. The first turtles in space.
Wow.
Zond 6 exploded. With
Sure.
the same payload.
The same animals?
The same types of
they were
animals.
like, you guys did great. You ready for round 2?
They give them like a quick drink of water and then send them up again. And then this is the last thing that I found notable before I was like, I gotta jump into my actual off topic. Are you afraid of space?
I mean, a normal amount.
Are you afraid of spiders?
Yeah.
In 1973, 2 female European garden spiders named Arabella and Anita spun webs aboard the NASA space station Skylab for 59 days.
I've seen those actually.
Is it cool?
Yeah, if I'm remembering this correct, I took an astrobio class in college, but that was a long time ago and I spent most of the time hungover. If I'm remembering it correctly though, they figured out that like spiders use the electromagnetism of the earth to like navigate when they're creating their webs. It's like, it's not something that they're like aware of,
Yeah.
but it's, you know,
But that's
in the
how
same way
they're
that,
doing it.
Yeah. It's like just something that factors in when they are like getting themselves oriented because they're very small. Most like insects and stuff like that use the electromagnetism of the earth to figure out where they are in space, in the space of the earth, not in outer space. So they were trying to figure out like what it would look like in zero gravity.
Yeah.
Like how that would affect the spider webs.
Were they just a mess?
They were like, they were very like spaced out. I mean, fuck. They were definitely different. They
That's
were like,
cool.
yeah, like the panes in between the strands are much wider and everything. It's really cool. I'll see if I can find a picture later.
I'm just so afraid of space. I'm afraid of space in the same way that I'm afraid of the ocean. I guess less afraid because there's not space sharks.
That you know.
Because nobody knows really.
Have they
what's
ever
out
sent
there.
a shark into space?
I don't think so.
Why
I don't know.
not?
NASA, get on it. Max wants more animals in the space. I'm so afraid of space, and I don't really particularly like spiders. And when I read that, I know that most likely the spiders were in a controlled, like, little place that they could monitor them. But I just imagine two random spiders just floating free in the space station.
Oh, no!
Yeah, that really freaked me out.
I was also picturing them just being in the spaceship, but I was picturing them wearing tiny spacesuits.
Oh, that makes me love this. Good job, Arabella and Anita.
Can you imagine, though, if that was, like, aliens decided to visit Earth, and, like, on approaching our outer atmosphere, they encountered a tiny craft, and inside were just couple of lesbian spiders. Be like, what the fuck is going on this planet?
We don't want to go there.
Yeah, especially if they don't have spiders. I mean, they wouldn't.
Especially if the aliens don't have lesbians. They're like,
they're gonna be like, wow, they're friends.
Wow, these spiders are roommates. I hate homophobic aliens. How dare they? So now we're gonna go into one of the most famous, probably the most famous animal that's ever gone into space. I'm going to actually go into two of them, but
Ew.
We're going to start with Max, grow up. We're talking about space exploration.
Can't spell space exploration without sex, but not really.
Kicks. Okay, let's talk about Laika, the space dog.
Moment of silence.
No. This is my off topic. I have to talk. I can't do a moment of silence.
Okay.
On October 4th, 1957, Sputnik 1 became the first man-made object to successfully orbit Earth. So that was a big deal. It went all the way around, came back. That's what orbiting means.
That is what orbiting means.
Following the successful orbit of an empty spacecraft, Soviet engineers hastily planned a follow-up launch of Sputnik 2 on November 7th of the same year. So October 4th to November 7th, 1957.
Oh my god.
That's not enough time to plan this fucking mission.
Yeah.
They did this after Nikita Khrushchev, shout out to the Cuban Missile Crisis, after Khrushchev requested the launch coincide with the 40th anniversary of Russia's Bolshevik Revolution. So he's like, we need something big. The difference between this launch was that for the first time in history, the ship would not be unmanned, or rather, undogged. Sputnik 2's payload was 1,120 pounds, 6 times as heavy as Sputnik 1, and as written by Alice George for Smithsonian Magazine, which is where I get a lot of my Laika story, it included a pressurized compartment for a flying dog.
And she could fly?
And she could fly.
Why would we send that dog into space? Pick a different dog.
At this point, I said, what better way to honor the day the entire Romanov family was violently murdered than with a space launch that would kill an innocent puppy? Spoiler alert, Laika doesn't survive. Soviet canine recruiters, which is what they called them, found their candidate by gathering up female stray dogs. I already mentioned that strays were already out in the cold, and so they were like, okay, so they'd probably be more used to being in space, I guess.
Sure.
And apparently they found female dogs to be smaller and sweeter than male strays. They were better tempered and sweeter and nicer.
Why would that be a factor?
Because they had to go through a lot of training and testing with very unpleasant conditions. Basically torture. They then tested all of the dogs to determine their, quote, obedience and passivity. After eliminating several rounds of dogs based on attitude and behavior, they then placed the finalists in, quote, tiny pressurized capsules for days and then weeks at a time to test how they did it with that. And it wasn't good. None of them liked it.
Sure.
I don't know what they did with the strays after. My biggest question at this point is, what about all the dogs that did they just release them back onto the street? Did people adopt them? What do you mean eliminated?
Yep.
Anyway, I don't know. If anybody knows that, please write to me. They also tested how they reacted to air pressure changes and loud noises to prepare them for liftoff, because obviously that was going to be really loud. The dogs were fitted with sanitation devices around their pelvic areas, and the dogs who hated the diapers, because I assume they were just diapers.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. The dogs who hated them were eliminated. The ones, they're like, a lot of them would like hold in their pee and stuff because they didn't want to do it in that weird contraption. And they like gave them a bunch of laxatives and stuff, and they still were like, I'm not pooping in this. They were like, okay, well then you're not going to space.
Stand your ground, girl.
Good job. Eventually, 2 dogs were chosen. The first was Sweet Kudryavka, which translates to Little Curly, who would eventually be known as Laika, which translates to Barker in Russian. And the backup space dog was Albina, which means white. I'm guessing she was white. There are rumors that Albina actually outperformed Laika in all of the tests, and she would have been the obvious choice for the mission. But she had recently given birth to puppies, so they took that into account. And also, her keepers had fallen in love with her, and so they didn't make her go to space. I know. Okay, this is gonna be rough. I'm gonna go as fast as I can.
Go faster, please.
Okay. Both dogs underwent surgery to have medical devices implanted that would monitor their heartbeats, breathing rates, blood pressure, and physical movement. And while they sent this sweet dog to space, knowing that she would die after only eating 1 time on the mission, and running out of oxygen after 7 days alone in the tiny compartment, that's how much oxygen they gave her, Alice George wants us to know that a female physician broke the no food rule and fed Laika before liftoff. And a keeper named Vladimir Yazdovsky took the 3-year-old dog home shortly before the flight because, according to him, quote, I wanted to do something nice for the dog. And then I wrote, oh God, why did I choose to research this? I can't stop crying. Yeah. Laika was put in a tiny travel space, which only allowed a few inches of movement, 3 days before the scheduled liftoff, which I think is wild. And on November 3rd at 5:30 a.m., the ship lifted off with Laika inside. The noises and pressure, of course, terrified her, and declassified records show that her heartbeat tripled the normal rate and that her breath rate quadrupled. She reached orbit alive, making her the first living thing humans ever sent to space orbit. And she circled the Earth in about 103 minutes.
That's so fast.
I think that's fast, too. However, there was an unexpected loss of the heat shield, and it made the temperature in the ship rise. And in 1993, Oleg Gazenko, he's a Russian doctor who trained Laika for the launch, he admitted that she died soon after the launch. Like, she did make it into orbit, but she didn't live a full 7 days in space by herself. Like, she died pretty quickly. The expectation was that Laika would survive for 7 days and die when her oxygen levels ran out. So naturally, instead of telling the truth, which honestly is much better than what actually happened, like, just tell the truth. It's better that she died really quickly than starving in space. The Soviet Union falsified documents claiming that she had survived several days in space just to make themselves look better. And there was even speculation that she might survive the trip. So people on
Why would you do that?
People on Earth, like back on Earth, were like, oh my God, she could survive this. And they were like rooting for her. It actually reminded me a lot of the Titanic submarine that went down. Remember when we were all like, they could still be down, they're just lost. And there was all this stuff. And I was like panicking. I was like, that's the worst thing I can think of. When in reality, a better situation than them just dying down there in a submarine is that it exploded and they all died immediately. Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, it was a whirlwind back on Earth. People were very intense about it. But 9 days after the launch, the public was informed that she had in fact died in space. More than 30 years later, Gazenko, that doctor who trained her, he admitted, quote, the more time passes, the more I'm sorry about it. So this haunts him.
Good.
It should. It 100% should. There were protests from animal lovers and humane societies. So, like, back on Earth, like I said, people were like, oh, fuck no. That's not okay. People attached protest signs to their pets, and they marched outside of the United Nations in New York. But many also believed that without animal test flights, we would have never been able to send humans into space. And unfortunately, that's also true. It's true that this is absolutely unnecessarily cruel. And it's also true that humans couldn't go first, you know? But Laika deserved better.
Yes, agreed. I honestly, they needed to do more to like offset the
suffering.
Yeah.
Yes. In Alice George's words, she's the one that wrote the Smithsonian article. She said, quote, ironically, a flight that promised Laika's certain death also offered proof that space was livable. Besides Laika, other animals have been sacrificed for the sake of space exploration. On January 31st, 1961, a chimpanzee named Ham became the first chimp in space. His name was Ham. The chimps that were trained for space flight were called space chimps, astro chimps, and at least according to a website I found called SaveTheChimps.com, Air Force chimps. Ham was born in Cameroon in 1957, but was quickly captured and brought to the Miami Rare Bird Farm in Florida. And then in July 1959, he was transferred to the Holloman Air Force Base in Alamogordo, New Mexico, where he was trained for spaceflight as part of Project Mercury. The name Ham, formerly his name was Chang, or Number 65, but they renamed him Ham at the time of his flight, and it was just an acronym for Holloman Aeromedical. But Ham is a hilarious name for a chimpanzee. Mm-hmm. Ham and his fellow research chimps were trained to sit for long periods of time in a small chair that they called the couch, and they learned to operate levers in response to light cues. So he was literally trained to fly his little pod. No. After 18 months of training, Ham was chosen to go to space so researchers could, quote, test the safety of spaceflight on the ape body. He was placed in his little capsule several hours before launch, and on January 31st, 1961, 3.5-year-old Ham was propelled into space. That's such a sad sentence. Ooh. His flight lasted 16 and a half minutes, which is fast. And everyone was really impressed that he seemed to keep his composure and he performed all of his tasks correctly. Like, he did his job. He didn't slip up once. He seemed very calm. Mm-hmm. Quote, he traveled at a speed of approximately 5,800 miles per hour to a height of 157 miles above the Earth. So he made it to the moon several times. He experienced about 6.5 minutes of weightlessness, end quote. That was a joke, guys. I at one point thought the moon was only a mile away. I don't want to talk about it. After the flight, his capsule splashed down 130 miles away from its target, and it started taking on water. It took several hours for a recovery ship to reach him, and miraculously, he was alive when they found him. So Ham survived. When he was released from what they called his couch, however, he had a huge grin on his face, and all the fucking humans were like, oh my god, he's so happy and proud.
No.
But this was extreme fear and anxiety. This is how chimps express their anxiety.
Oh my god, no, that's horrifying.
I know. A while later, photographers came in and they were like, we need to get a shot of Ham on his couch. And he refused to go back in the capsule. He just fought against it and panicked. Multiple adult men tried to force him inside, but he resisted because, of course, he did. So they couldn't get him in there to get their pictures.
Good.
Fucking good.
I hope he smacked the shit out of those dudes,
Ripped off all of their balls. Through the rim. NASA.
I was trying to tone it down.
Not me. Not me. The other chimps in his test group spent the next few decades undergoing biomedical research and testing, but Ham was sent to the National Zoo in 1963, where he lived alone for 17 years. Finally, he was sent to the North Carolina Zoo to live with other chimps, and he died on January 18th, 1983, at the estimated age of 26 years old.
Oh my god.
Yeah, one more year and he could have made it into the 27 club.
I know. That genuinely was my thought.
Save the Chimps is this organization. I actually included a link to them. I'll talk about it in a minute. Save the Chimps wants everyone to remember an important detail about Ham that is not talked about enough. Everyone remembers him for surviving space travel, for being the first ape to make it into space, and for performing his tasks correctly. But no one talks about the fact that a 3.5-year-old chimp is a baby. Mm-hmm. They said, quote, if Ham had not been kidnapped and his mother killed, he still would have been nursing at age 3.5, dependent on his mother for survival. Mm. And then they were like, a human toddler wouldn't be able to fucking, fly a spacecraft into space. He doesn't get enough credit for being a smart baby.
Yes. Also, human babies suck.
Also, human babies can't
and that's
do
their
anything.
Main thing.
Let's launch a human baby into space and see how well they do.
Can you imagine being one of those chimps that he moved in with at
And
20?
he's just chain smoking cigarettes?
Yeah.
I've seen shit.
Yes. I mean, he was in space.
He's definitely
as a baby, and then he was alone for 17 years.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? And I know this is not a good comparison, but in Umbrella Academy, 4?
Yes.
How he was
That's exactly what I'm picturing.
he's a really rude adult chimp. By the way, in the show notes, I'm including a link to Save the Chimps in case anyone wants to donate to their organization. They rescue chimps, so the ones they can't release into the wild, they have a reservation kind of for them. And they have a 97% score on Charity Navigator. And they just seem really cool. And they have a lot of information about Ham on there. Do you want to see a picture of Ham?
Yes, please.
And Leica?
No. Can you fold the paper?
I can't.
Ugh.
I know. Leica just looks like a normal dog.
Oh my god.
And Ham does look like a baby. That is so clearly a baby.
Ugh. That. Oh my god.
I know. The way I act, I just sobbed about Leica last night.
And they both look like confused a little bit.
Leica for sure is looking around like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, and that's heartbreaking.
Also, just knowing that Leica was chosen because she was really sweet is upsetting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get on to less tragic things now. I am so sorry. Now let's talk about the less tragic things that we humans have jettisoned into space, which is the real reason I started researching this stupid off-topic. So the first one is called Sounds of Earth, which Max has already alluded to. Famous astronomer...
I want to be an astronomer.
In the 1970s, famous astronomer Carl Sagan diverted everyone's attention from hard launching perfect, innocent angel babies into the cold expanse of space by asking a question no one had thought of yet. If an alien were to stumble across something that we tossed out into the unknown, how would they know it was from us?
It would have USA printed on the side of it.
Hey, big American flag, baby.
Woo!
It would have our nudes in it. So, when NASA launched Voyager 1 and 2 in 1977, just 16 days apart from each other, to take pictures of our solar system, that's what they went to do, Sagan and his committee fitted what became known as the Voyager Golden Records to each one. These 12-inch golden records included the following: 115 images in analog form, greetings spoken in 55 languages, followed by the Sounds of Earth. So I guess just they took it outside their window and recorded some bird song.
I love the idea of you said it was 15 minutes?
What do you mean?
How many minutes of sound?
I don't know how many minutes that the Sounds of Earth was. After that, they had a 90-minute selection of music throughout the ages from around the world.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
The Sounds of Earth, I hope that it's like 15 minutes in, you just hear like a car horn honking. So you're like, hey, I'm walking here. Yeah.
It's a big old tugboat.
Mm-hmm. And then a guy being like,
and then like a slap. And then like heels walking away in a hum. Also included were instructions on how to play the records in case they wouldn't know.
Sure.
That's the golden record.
Yeah. The really cool thing about the record is that the really cool thing that is also probably terrifying to some people. If you're scared of aliens or space, are you going to go through all of the images that are...
No, I'm done with the thing, yeah.
This right here...
Don't look at the top image.
Okay. This right here, this like starburst shape.
Yeah. It looks like this like a crater on the moon. That's what I assumed.
No. So that is... I can't remember what kind of star it is, but they mapped like the largest stars around our solar system. Mm-hmm. And that's basically a map to where we are.
No.
So they were like, if you find this place in space that has these stars in this organization, we're right here in the middle. So that's a map to how to find us.
Carl Sagan, you idiot. We need an invisibility cloak. Nobody's going to want our planet by the time they actually make it.
Unless they're already here.
Maybe.
Unless they already came and left.
Yeah, they need to get the fuck out of here.
I could talk about the Drake equation for so long. I got into a fight with my astrobio professor over it. Anyways.
Okay, so we sent a bunch of animals. It was heartbreaking. We did terrible things to them. Then we were like, let's tell aliens how to get to us. Mm-hmm. Then 35...
We were like, let's make a mixtape for the aliens.
We need to give them our slow jams. And then 34 years after Laika was sacrificed in the name of space exploration, Pizza Hut decided to get on the action.
What? They sacrificed a dog?
Pizza Hut just started launching puppies into space. The pepperonis.
Jesus Christ.
The company struck a deal with the Russian space agency Roscosmos to have pizza delivered to cosmonaut Yuri Uzachov on the International Space Station. Of course, we immediately jumped to advertisements.
God, immediately.
The order was slightly tweaked to withstand space travel. Instead of pepperoni was used.
No!
Instead of pepperoni, salami was used because, quote, pepperoni did not withstand the 60-day testing process. Which makes me wonder, does salami last 60 days?
That's concerning.
I feel like pepperoni would be more... Anyway.
I want to know everything about that. I'm going to do my own separate off-topic about what happens to various cured meats in space.
They also added extra salt and spices in order to, quote, tingle the taste buds that are depleted in microgravity. So.
Oh, that's actually airplane food. Have you heard this?
Mm-mm.
They have to have special, like, molecular biology researchers designing the food that they serve on airplanes, because when you are in areas where the air is thinner and the gravity is less, it affects the way that you taste things.
Wow.
So if you take if you were to take a sandwich, eat half of it, and then get up in an airplane and eat the other half of it, it would taste different.
I gotta start bringing sandwiches on my airplane.
Yeah, so like when they first started doing airplanes, people were like, all of the food fucking sucks.
And they're like, but it's the
and
same
you know
food.
What, Jerry Seinfeld? Here's what's the deal with airplane food. They like did a bunch of research and they figured out that like in order to have things taste the same way, like higher up, they had to prepare it differently.
That's so cool.
It has to have like more salt. It basically has to just taste more.
This is something I learned from Allie Hazelwood with every book that she does. So she writes like really raunchy romances about women in STEM. Mm-hmm. That's it.
Yeah.
But every single book, the main character is in a different scientific field that I'm like, that's something you can major in? Like, what the fuck? And like every time I'm like, well, I can't see what else she could do. She'll like throw something else weird back into it. And you're like, what is this experiment? I don't understand. And I love the idea. I need one that's set with a person who is developing food for space travel or food for airplane travel. That's cool.
There's a whole like field of study around, I think it's called astrogastronomy.
Astrogastronomy.
I think. And it's absolutely fascinating.
I love it.
Yeah. I probably have the details wrong, but definitely look into it because it's wild. Yeah. And it's changed the way that I think about everything about the world.
Yeah. And now there's pizza in space with extra salt and spices.
Just the one that was probably old now.
I don't know how it works in space.
True.
Let's talk about space burials. People have requested their ashes be sent to space. Notable examples include Gene Roddenberry, the creator of the original Star Trek series, whose remains were placed on the Space Shuttle Columbia for the STS-52 mission, and Clyde Tombaugh, the American astronomer who discovered Pluto in 1930. Yeah, bad news, friend. Tombaugh's ashes are on NASA's New Horizons mission, which is headed towards a distant dwarf planet.
That's cute.
Yeah. When I
Pluto,
think...
though.
No, definitely not Pluto. When I think of people asking for their remains to be sent to space, I think of single pods, like, and just the waste and environmental impact. But doing this research, I was like, oh, naturally, they put them on existing space explorations.
Well, so they do. The ones that are like approved by NASA and stuff like that, yes, they send them up on like flights that are already planned.
Yeah.
But there are private companies that will let you launch your ashes into space.
Guys,
as
don't
like a
fucking
solo
do
thing.
that.
Yeah, it's a disgusting billionaire thing.
It's literally the most disgusting thing.
Yeah.
That's gross.
The environmental impact of a space launch is so unbelievable.
Yes.
But if you have enough money, you can do that.
If you have
And
enough
a lot
money,
of
you
other
literally
awful
can
things.
destroy the Earth. And they are.
Yeah.
Okay. Toys. In honor of the 30th anniversary of Star Wars, the lightsaber Luke Skywalker used in Return of the Jedi went to space and back with a team of astronauts who went to deliver and assemble the Harmony module, also known as Node 2. So just a bunch of nerdy astronauts. They're like posing with R2-D2 and like holding the lightsaber and like living out their fucking little boy fantasies. It's very cute. Also, I'm sure you knew this, and I didn't know the extent of this. NASA has a long-standing partnership with the Lego company. So when the Juno spacecraft was launched on August 5th, 2011 to probe Jupiter, 3 Lego minifigures were sent with the ship. One was Roman god Jupiter, which is Zeus, right? And they're going to Jupiter, so it's cute that they sent Jupiter with. The second one was Juno, which is what the spacecraft is named, which is cute because Juno is Jupiter's wife. Going to find him.
Yeah, the Hera equivalent.
And they also sent a tiny Galileo Galilei, who, as far as I know, was the first person to A, realize that Earth orbits the sun and not the other way around, and B, if you stare at the sun too much, you will in fact go blind. Because he did in fact go blind from staring at the sun too much.
He was also one of the first people to document Jupiter's moons. So that's probably why.
I love it.
He was not the first person to posit that the Earth went around the sun, but he was in a period of, I think it was the Catholic Church.
It was the Catholic Church that got him.
Yeah, the Catholic Church was like, actually science is bad, we've decided, and everyone should recant everything that they've ever said, and the sun goes around the Earth because the Earth is what God has created.
Yeah, it was 100% because they thought that saying the other way meant that they were denying the fact that God created the Earth or whatever.
Yeah, so he was one of the only people who like didn't welch out and be like, no, yeah, you're right, I was wrong.
They put him under house arrest.
House arrest for a really long time over it.
Yeah. Okay, so sending the Legos into space was part of something called the Bricks in Space Project, which was meant to inspire children's interest in STEM. I think it's cute. And now here's something fucking horrible in a different way than Laika and Ham. In 2008, Elon Musk's company SpaceX launched a giant rocket called Falcon Heavy into space with a Tesla Roadster as its payload. Riding in the driver's seat is a mannequin dressed like an astronaut. They call him Starman. And David Bowie's Space Oddity is playing on the radio as long as the battery's still working. So it's just playing over and over. The mannequin has his little arm resting on the window, and he looks cool as hell.
Listen, on the one hand, that is cool as hell.
It's not. I honestly think it's the most embarrassing nerdy thing I've ever heard of.
I mean, like, it's cool. I understand the concept, but the difference between having a cool, funny idea about like a cool thing to do and then spending millions, if not billions of dollars and the unbelievable environmental impact of actually realizing that bit.
Well, so to be fair, this wasn't just for the bit or the stunt. And even the Roadster being out there, it is headed towards Mars, I believe, and it's equipped with cameras that are taking pictures and like transmitting images back the entire way. So like it is very gimmicky, but it is at least sending back information and mapping its progress. And even though that was the payload for the first one, he's doing it for a reason. It's not a good reason. No, but it wasn't just for the gimmick of the car in space, even though that's what everybody actually cares about. According to whereistheroadster.com, which is a website that is live tracking where the Roadster is at any time, in the past 6.5 years, the Roadster has now exceeded its 36,000-mile warranty.
Sure.
So, you know, it's exceeded it 90,303 times. As of when I was writing this, but the tracker is constantly going up. And it's traveled far enough to drive all of the world's roads 81.4 times.
Damn.
Yeah, it's been traveling. So why is he doing this? Because he sucks. But also, as far as the car is concerned, it's a media stunt. But the main reason for this is that boosters on his giant heavy lift rockets, which is what Falcon Heavy is, they can be reused. And that was the main thing of testing out these launches, is whether or not they can reuse the boosters. And he wants to sell each launch for $90 million per flight. And I don't really fully care about anything he's doing, but it sounds like he wants to commercialize space travel and make huge rockets as a weird statement about his penis. Like, in my humble opinion, I think it's about his penis and commercializing space. I
agree. I also say this with the deepest regrets. Falcon Heavy would be a really, really good name for a Gundam.
What's a Gundam?
Jaeger.
What's a Jaeger?
Pacific Rim.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Like a big robot.
Don't look so disappointed with me.
No. That wasn't disappointment. I was like rattling through my Rolodex of terms for big robot.
Falcon Heavy really would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I wrote, why would I start this? I was still upset about Laika when I wrote this.
Yeah.
I fell for a clickbait article that said NASA was planning to launch nudes into space, and I thought that was hilarious. Then, when trying to research this, I immediately came across the Snopes article that debunked this rumor. NASA is not sending out space nudes to aliens.
Sure.
Quote, a NASA spokesperson told Snopes that the idea was a thought experiment partially authored by 2 NASA scientists. It was not under the direction of the U.S. Space Agency. Furthermore, an author of the study told our team that the peer-reviewed research was published as a scientific concept to describe one way of possible communicating with life beyond our own planet should it exist. It is not an action plan. And that, to me, doesn't sound like they're not planning on sending space nudes. This sounds like when Edward Lansdale was like, I did not want to rapture Cuba. And then they declassified all those documents in the 70s, and it's like him saying, I think we should rapture Cuba. By the way, the space nudes look like they were just drawn in Microsoft Paint. They're very pixely. There is a terrible penis that just looks like 3 tubes stacked next to each other. So I said that this sounds like Edward Lansdale saying, I didn't say that, and then later on it being like, no, he said that. Mm-hmm. NASA's like, we didn't say that. It was actually 2 people who work for us that say that. It's like, oh, so NASA. This also sounds like when Jeremy Spencer from Fleetwood Mac laughed off the rumors that he'd been kidnapped and brainwashed by that cult, and then immediately followed his denial of the rumor saying, no, I joined the cult, left the band, and shaved my head willingly. I wasn't kidnapped. All right, NASA. So we've been lied to a lot. Question everything. That's some things that we've sent into space.
The truth is out there.
The truth is out there. Brilliant, Max. A+.
Thanks. That was good. That was really good.
We sent some weird things. We are still continuing to send weird things into space. What would you send to space? If you were going to go into space, what would you take with you? Just as like a statement.
Right now? Mm-hmm. A portrait of Laika.
I would wear a t-shirt of Laika. Poor Laika. Just a sweet, perfect baby.
I wouldn't put anything in space. And that's not, I don't want to be precious about it, because also there are lots of things that we've shot into space. I mean, there's like satellites and
trash.
stuff like that. Trash. It's mostly trash.
It's mostly garbage.
Primarily trash.
Yeah.
Is the main thing. So I don't want to be precious and be like, I wouldn't want to put anything in our beautiful Earth's beautiful orbit. Mm-hmm. But you don't have to put it into orbit. Like literally doing what they did with like the lightsaber. You bring it up to space and bring it back. You know, like that's what I'm saying. Like what would you take to space? Can of Coke.
Why? It would explode. A watermelon. And a bunch of rubber bands. They're like, sir, we don't know how she snuck a whole watermelon and a bunch of rubber bands up there, but we have to land the ship. It's got to come back. It is disgusting now.
I think I would also, if I was ever a part of like an extended space flight, mm-hmm. I would bring little... I was thinking this when you were talking about the Lego men who were in space. Mm-hmm. I would bring shit like that and then just hide them. And then other people would have to find them in space.
I'd bring 3 spiders. 2 of them I'd put in the container, and then 1 of them I'd release onto the ship.
I would not do that for obvious reasons.
And every day I'd go by and say, guys, where's the 3rd spider?
What would you bring into space?
Lemon juice? I don't know.
Just as a snack?
Yeah, just like a little snack. I want to see what lemon juice tastes like in space. Do you think it's bad?
You should bring lemon juice on your next flight.
I think I might.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, just as a little... It's called Women in STEM. Look it up.
Yeah.
Let's see if lemon juice tastes different in space. On planes. I'm not going to go to space. I'm scared of space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, I've thrown a bunch of anecdotal things out in this episode. I didn't do research before this episode because I didn't know the topic until we got here. So please don't repeat anything that I've said as fact. This is just my understanding from my terrible, rotten brain of something that I heard many years ago. So please do research. I'm not sure that any of those things are facts.
Question
I know that the gist of them
everything.
Is correct.
The truth is out there on Google.
That was fantastic.
Thank you. Do you want to go and cry about Laika?
I want to pitch something to you.
Okay.
I want to set a timer for 1 minute.
Okay.
And rant about the Drake equation.
Okay. I don't even know what the Drake equation is.
Okay.
Oh, those are both my shoulders.
It was good.
Thanks.
Good sound. Okay. 1 minute. This is not going to be long enough, but that's okay.
Okay.
For 1 minute, I'm going to yell at you guys about the Drake equation.
You have to start it.
Okay.
I was like, Max, you can't trick me. And go.
So the Drake equation is a theoretical equation that is supposed to help us understand the concept of alien life and whether or not it exists.
Okay.
It takes into account a bunch of different factors, like how far away it would be, like what the requirements are for life on a planet. Basically, it's a way of quantifying just how ostensibly improbable it is that alien life exists, because they posit that, like, oh, in order to have life, you would have to have water, and in order to have water, the plant would have to be like this far away from the star that it's closest to, and it would have to have this kind of environment and this kind of atmosphere. So it limits it to like a very specific area around a star. It has to be a specific kind of star. So it's basically a way of saying, like, life is virtually impossible because it requires such a specific set of circumstances. And it also says that, sorry, we can 30 seconds, go! It also says, like, okay, and even taking all of these things into account, you have to think about the age of the universe.
Yeah.
And the fact that even if there was life in the universe, it might not coexist with us. And that's stupid. Sorry. I'm going to do another minute.
Was out. Okay, go ahead. Other minute, go.
I'm just explaining that was the concept.
Stop the timer. You know,
No.
we control this episode.
No. So that's the concept, right?
Okay.
The thing that's bullshit about it is that it doesn't take into account other forms of life. There are lots of theoretical forms of life that don't require...
Like bacteria.
Yeah, that don't require water, that don't require an atmosphere, and it's completely eliminating all of those. It's even, like, limiting things to terrestrial planets with atmospheres is, I think, ridiculous.
Yeah.
There, for all we fucking know, like, waves of light could be sentient and trying to communicate with us. But so the other things that this takes into account are, like, do they exist concurrently with human life? Would they be able to develop space travel so that they could actually communicate with us? Would they be communicating with us in a similar way through, like, language or anything like that? And it basically, the idea is that, like, alien life doesn't exist because all of these factors would have to line up. And I think that's bullshit. I think that we should not be Debbie Downers. We should think about all the life that there could be.
Yeah. And that's the end of your time. Good job. 2 minutes.
Thanks.
I will say it is very human. It's a very human flaw to be like, it only counts as human life if it looks like me. We haven't just limited that amount of prejudice to space.
Yeah.
Something that we do on Earth all the time, historically.
Yeah. I mean, like, the idea is, like, could we, the thesis behind it is, could we interact with alien life? Like, is there any likelihood that we will encounter alien life that will come to us or that we will get to them? Anyways,
But that also doesn't take into account that it is confirmed alien life, you know?
Yeah. Also, there's the Fermi paradox is another bullshit thing. The Fermi paradox is the discrepancy between the lack of conclusive evidence of advanced extraterrestrial life and the apparently high likelihood of its existence. It's the idea of, like, okay, if there are aliens, then why haven't we fucking seen them? And that's also bullshit.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would they give a shit about us?
Well, that's one thing, is because we need to be the main character at all times. So, like, but also, we have seen them. That's confirmed.
Yeah.
That's confirmed. We have seen them, and it's been silenced. Guys, I know that sounds like a
The
conspiracy
truth
theory.
is out there.
Question everything.
Do you guys remember when the CIA was like, yeah, aliens exist, but it was in the middle of a bunch of other shit?
They did it to, like, take away the impact of all the other horrible shit that they were doing.
Yeah.
that our government was doing.
That guy from Blink-182, like, contributed significantly to the research proving that the CIA was lying.
Travis Barker?
No, the one who wrote Aliens Exist.
Oh, I don't... Guy, that's essentialist of me. I only think of Travis Barker when I think of Blink-182.
It's the other vocalist guy.
The other guy. Well, Travis Barker is a drummer. Travis Laika. Because Laika means Barker in Russian.
I was like, you can't just put two words together. That doesn't mean anything.
Anyway, Laika and subscriber.
Ugh.
I could put any words together. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us during this off topic. I'm sorry if it was a bummer, but if you made it through it, thanks. I want you to text us and tell us what you would send into space. Like, what do you think would be important to go to space with astronauts in its own pod? I don't care. If Elon Musk, we could send him to space. One-way ticket.
Get the fuck out of here.
You can even go in your very own roadster.
Also, tell us if you've ever seen an alien.
Have you ever seen an alien? Do you have any alien abductions in your family? My brother's fiance has an alien abduction story in her family. There's even a book written about it. I still haven't read it, but I have it. maybe a book club episode. Who knows? Yeah. Do you have any weird... I feel like, especially in very specific parts of the United States, a lot of families have alien abduction stories in their family. Whether or not you think they're real or somebody was just crazy, we want to hear them. I think that'd be very fun. And...
I think I saw a UFO. I've told you this, right?
You saw me what? No, you didn't. That wasn't me.
A couple years ago, I was driving home from work, and there's this section of the highway that goes towards our house that is like a bridge over swampland that's all like grassy and everything. It's like very marshy. And I was driving over it, and it was like close to sunset. And I looked over, and there was this shadow, like in like an extended like triangle shape, kind of. There's this shadow that was just passing right above the grass, and I could like the grass was moving with it. And it was moving super, super fast, but it was like just this shadow that passed across all of this grass and everything like that. And there was nothing above it.
So weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if those are just like alien ghosts?
Oh my God.
Yeah, a whole new thing to argue about in the comments section. Okay, so guys, join our Patreon if you want bonus episodes with our regular format. Join the Discord to chat with us about this episode and any other episode that you like or want to talk about. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok. All of that is sort of the story, and we post pictures there, and I'll post pictures of all the things that I showed Max today, including how cute baby Ham is in his little couch. He's
You
dressed
guys
like
can
a
all
little
cry with me.
He's dressed like a little astronaut, and he looks like a baby.
The couch looks like a stroller also, which doesn't help.
It really does look like a stroller. Like, he's so fucking cute. He's wearing a little hard hat. I love him so much. Anyway, getting weepy again. And
Email us, startthestory@gmail.com.
yeah, email us. And also rate and review this podcast, 5 stars on Apple Podcast, and tell us what you would send to space in the review.
And also tell us about any aliens that you've seen.
Tell us about any aliens sleepy.
Tell us about any aliens that you've seen.
Yeah. Definitely do that. And join us next week when we come back with a whole other off topic.
Woo!
Yeah. Okay, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Goodbye.
Bye.
So I learned about a show, I think it's from Sweden, that basically is the contestants, not the contestants, but like the person that's on the show is somebody who is terminally ill in real life, and they are going to die, and they want to donate their organs. And the contestants are people who are waiting for organ transplants, and they are on lists, and they are likely to not get an organ, and they're all pleading with the person and pitching their cases and stuff of why they should be the one that gets the organ. And that's the reality show.
The thing about that is most shocking to me is that it's in Sweden and not the United States.
Which is why I want to give it the benefit of the doubt, because when I was looking at it, somebody was like, this seems really fucked up, until you realize that a lot of it is raising awareness on how fucked up the organ donation industry actually is, and how many people, like, not how fucked up, but it's raising awareness on how many people need organ transplants and how few people actually donate their organs, and also how many people can donate organs without being terminally ill and stuff like that. Like, there are people who are like, in memory of my dad who just died of kidney failure, I'm going to donate a kidney to somebody who needs one, you know? But it still seems so fucked up.
A big part of how fucked up I think it is whether or not they keep profits from the show or if they
donate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that's such a good fucking question that I didn't think to look up.
Yeah.
I almost was like, maybe I can do an off topic about that. And then I was like, you already did I Want to Marry Harry. You can't do the organ donation reality show.